First contact and discovery. The crystalline spires of the Meridian flagship Astral Dawn pierced the darkness of space as it emerged from hyperspace at the edge of an unremarkable solar system. High Admiral Venusaur stood motionless on the command deck, her iridescent scales shifting colors with each breath as she studied the holographic display before her. Their latest expedition had brought them to yet another backwater region of the galaxy, searching for resources to fuel their ever-expanding empire. Initial scans complete, High Admiral, announced First Observer Krell, his neural tendrils pulsing with transmitted data. Third planet shows signs of civilization, industrial-level technology, significant atmospheric pollution, primitive space presence. Vena's outer eyes narrowed while her inner ones remained fixed on the blue-green world growing larger in their view. The Meridians had encountered countless developing species in their centuries of exploration. Most were barely worth the effort of subjugation. Yet something about this planet tugged at her consciousness in ways she couldn't explain. Interesting, she mused, her crystalline voice echoing through the chamber. Their development level. Approximately Class 3, High Admiral. They've achieved limited interplanetary travel but no meaningful expansion beyond their home system. They call themselves humans. A ripple of amusement passed through the bridge crew. Class 3 civilizations were considered little more than children playing with dangerous toys. The Meridians, with their mastery of genetics, energy manipulation, and faster-than-light travel, were Class 7. In their experience, such primitive species either accepted Meridian guidance or faced swift consequences. Deploy observation drones, Vena ordered. Full spectrum analysis. I want to know everything about these humans before we make our presence known. As the drones scattered across Earth's orbit, they began transmitting vast amounts of data back to the Astral Dawn. Human cities sprawled across continents, their crude vehicles clogging streets and airways. Their primitive computer networks buzzed with communications. Their weapons, while nuclear-capable, posed no real threat to Meridian defenses. But as the analysis deepened, troubling anomalies began to emerge. High Admiral, Krell's voice carried an unusual note of concern. The genetic analysis team reports irregularities. Vena turned all four eyes toward her subordinate. Explain. There are sequences in the human genome that share similarities with our own. The statement hung in the air like a physical thing. Such a connection should have been impossible. The Meridians had evolved on a world thousands of light years from Earth, their biology based on crystalline structures unlike anything found in human physiology. Yet as more data poured in, the evidence became impossible to ignore. Launch a deep archaeological scan, Vena commanded. I want to know their history. The results shook the Meridian crew to their core. Buried beneath centuries of sediment and civilization lay artifacts that defied explanation. Advanced laboratories preserved in stasis fields, genetic engineering facilities that predated human recorded history, and most disturbing of all, technical documents written in an ancient form of human language that contained unmistakable references to Meridian biological structures. High Admiral, Krell's voice trembled. According to these readings, the humans didn't just encounter our ancestors. They created us. The revelation sent shockwaves through the command deck. The Meridians had long believed themselves to be the natural pinnacle of evolution, their crystalline biology a sign of their superiority over organic life. Their entire society was built around this belief. Their religion, their culture, their very identity stemmed from it. But the evidence was becoming undeniable. Somewhere in Earth's distant past, humans had achieved technological heights far beyond their current level. They had mastered genetic engineering on a scale that the Meridians themselves had not yet achieved. And for reasons lost to time, they had created the first Meridians before apparently losing or abandoning their advanced capabilities. Vena felt her worldview crumbling as she processed the implications. The beings they had dismissed as primitives were actually their creators, fallen from a height that her people had not yet regained. Every conquest, every subjugation, every moment of assumed superiority had been built on a foundation of lies. "Your orders, High Admiral," Krell asked softly. Vena stared at the planet below, seeing it with new eyes. Their original mission had been clear: assess the humans for either integration or conquest. But now everything had changed. Did they reveal themselves and risk a pending Meridian society with this knowledge? Did they destroy the evidence and maintain their civilization's comfortable illusions? Or was there another path forward? "Maintain observation protocols," she finally ordered. "But expand the archaeological analysis. I want to know everything about who we really are, and who they once were." And Krell: "Yes, High Admiral. Classification level Ultra Black. Not a word of this leaves this ship until we understand the full scope of what we're dealing with." As the astral dawn continued its silent vigil above Earth, more Meridian ships began arriving at the edge of the solar system. A discovery of this magnitude couldn't be contained forever. Soon, choices would have to be made that would reshape the destiny of both species. Deep below the surface of Earth, in forgotten bunkers and abandoned laboratories, ancient systems began stirring to life, responding to the presence of their long-lost children. The true story of humanity's past, and the reason they had created the Meridians in the first place, waited to be rediscovered. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, and in the vast darkness between the stars, something stirred. The very threat that had driven humanity to such desperate measures eons ago, waiting to test both creator and creation once again. The Great Revelation. The news spread through the Meridian fleet like a quantum shockwave, despite High Admiral Vena's attempts at containment. Within days of the initial discovery, the Astral Dawn's research findings had reached the highest levels of the Meridian Council. Emergency sessions were called, religious leaders demanded answers, and the carefully maintained order of their society began to crack. Supreme Chancellor Ixel stood before the gathered council members in the virtual chamber, their holographic forms flickering with agitation. The massive crystalline chamber, usually a symbol of Meridian superiority, now seemed to mock them with its artificial perfection. "The evidence is conclusive," Ixel announced, his voice heavy with the weight of history. "Our entire origin story, our belief in natural evolution, our divine destiny, all of it was manufactured. We are not children of the cosmos. We are children of Earth." The chamber erupted in chaos. Council member Zara, head of the Genetic Preservation Society, raised her voice above the tumult. "This is heresy. Our biological superiority is self-evident. These humans are barely capable of leaving their own planet. How could they possibly have created us?" High Admiral Vena's hologram stepped forward, her scales shifting to commanding red. "The archaeological evidence is irrefutable. We've discovered human facilities dating back over 50,000 years. They possess technology far beyond their current capabilities, or even our own. Something caused them to lose this knowledge, but the proof of their achievement remains." On the Astral Dawn, First Observer Krell worked frantically to process the flood of new data from the deep archaeological scans. Each discovery painted a clearer picture of humanity's forgotten golden age. They had mastered manipulation of matter at the quantum level, achieved biological immortality, and spread across hundreds of star systems. But the most stunning revelation came from a preserved data core, finally decrypted after weeks of effort. Krell's neural tendrils trembled as he transmitted the findings to High Admiral Vena. "High Admiral," he whispered, "we found their reason. The humans didn't create us on a whim. They were preparing for something. A threat so grave it forced them to engineer an entirely new species." Back in the council chamber, the debate had turned from denial to deeper questions. Religious leader Mix, his crystalline form dulled with distress, raised the issue haunting them all. "If we are created beings, what does this mean for our society, our beliefs, our very purpose?" "Perhaps," offered Council Member Dren of the Science Directory, "we should consider making contact. The humans may not remember their past, but together we might uncover the full truth of our shared history." The suggestion sent new ripples of controversy through the assembly. Contact with a Class 3 civilization was unprecedented. Yet these weren't just any primitives. They were their creators, fallen from heights that even the Meridians hadn't achieved. On Earth, strange events began occurring that couldn't be dismissed as coincidence. Ancient structures, dormant for millennia, pulsed with renewed energy. Satellites detected mysterious power signatures in abandoned regions, and in research facilities across the globe, computers began displaying fragments of code in languages nobody recognized. Meanwhile, aboard the Astral Dawn, Vena made a decision that would alter the course of both civilizations. "Begin decoding the rest of the data core," she ordered Krell. "Whatever drove humanity to create us must have been extraordinary, and if it forced them to fall so far, it might still be out there." The next several weeks brought revelation after revelation. The data core revealed that humanity's golden age hadn't ended in war or natural disaster, but in a deliberate choice. They had encountered something in their expansion across the stars, something that forced them to take drastic measures. The Meridians were designed to be humanity's legacy, a species engineered to survive what their creators could not. Enhanced physical capabilities, crystalline biology resistant to conventional weapons, and genetic memory that could preserve crucial knowledge across generations. Every aspect of Meridian physiology had been carefully crafted for a purpose. But the nature of the threat remained encrypted behind layers of security that even Meridian quantum computers struggled to crack. Whatever humanity had feared, they had gone to extraordinary lengths to prepare for it. In the council chamber, the debate shifted from theological crisis to practical concerns. If they were created as weapons or guardians, did they have an obligation to their makers? Should they share their advanced technology with humans, helping them reclaim their lost glory? Or would that simply reawaken whatever ancient danger had caused their downfall? Supreme Chancellor Ixel finally called for order. "We face three choices," he announced. "We can retreat, leaving humanity ignorant of their past and our existence. We can conquer them, assuming control of Earth and its resources while we search for answers. Or we can reveal ourselves and forge an alliance, working together to uncover the truth of our shared history." The chamber fell silent as the council members contemplated their options. Each choice carried enormous risks. Retreat meant abandoning their creators and possibly missing crucial information about their own purpose. Conquest felt like blasphemy now that they knew their origins. But alliance, with a Class 3 civilization, the very idea challenged everything they thought they knew about cosmic order. Before they could reach a decision, an urgent transmission cut through the chamber's security protocols. First Observer Krell's hologram appeared, his neural tendrils flashing with alarm. "High Admiral, Council members," he announced, "we've detected something. The humans, they're starting to remember. Their dormant technology is reactivating. And there's something else." The transmission cut off abruptly as sensors across the Meridian fleet began registering massive energy signatures from Earth's surface. Whatever secrets lay buried in humanity's past, they wouldn't remain hidden much longer. The time for debate was over. The moment of contact approached, ready or not. Operation Legacy. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the data streaming across her quantum displays in the depths of NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Facility. For weeks, she had been tracking anomalous signals at the edge of the solar system, energy signatures that defied conventional physics. Now, those signatures were multiplying. "Director Matthews," she called, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I think you need to see this." James Matthews crossed the dimly lit control room, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of holographic projections. 20 years of tracking near-Earth objects hadn't prepared him for what the sensors were showing. A fleet of vessels, each larger than anything humanity had ever constructed, holding position just beyond Mars' orbit. "How long have they been there?" he asked, already reaching for the secure line to the Joint Chiefs. "Based on signal degradation, at least 3 weeks. But sir, that's not the strangest part." Sarah pulled up another display, this one showing readings from sites across Earth. "Something down here is responding to their presence. Across the globe, in locations untouched for millennia. Ancient mechanisms were stirring. Deep beneath the ice of Antarctica, beneath the sands of the Sahara, in the depths of the Pacific, forgotten facilities were coming back online, responding to some silent signal from humanity's forgotten past. In Washington, D.C., the National Security Council convened an emergency session. General Diana Rodriguez, head of the newly formed Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative, presented the latest findings. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not alone, and we are not prepared. These vessels possess technology centuries beyond our current capabilities. But more concerning is what's happening in our own backyard. The room's main display showed live footage from Antarctica, where a research team had discovered a vast complex of structures beneath the ice. The architecture was clearly human in origin, but the technology within defied modern understanding. Carbon dating puts these facilities at over 50,000 years old, Rodriguez continued. Yet they're more advanced than anything we can build today. We're looking at evidence of a human civilization that achieved interstellar travel before the last ice age. Dr. Chen, called in to consult, stepped forward. The facilities appear to be some kind of research and development centers. They're automated, running on power sources we barely understand. And they're awakening in response to our visitors. Across the table, CIA Director Marcus Wong raised the question everyone was thinking. Are we under threat? Before anyone could respond, every screen in the room flickered. Images appeared, technical schematics, genetic sequences, and a message repeated in every human language. The children return. Protocol Omega initiated. Remember. In the following days, similar messages appeared on computers and devices worldwide. Ancient knowledge, locked away for millennia, began flooding back into human consciousness. People reported strange dreams, memories that couldn't be their own, yet felt undeniably real. At the Antarctic facility, Dr. Chen led a team of scientists studying the awakening technology. Each discovery painted a clearer picture of humanity's forgotten golden age and the terrible choice they had made to abandon it. Look at this, she called to her colleagues, examining a holographic display that had spontaneously activated. It showed detailed schematics of the alien vessels in orbit, except they weren't alien at all. They were human designs, transformed and evolved over millennia. We created them, she whispered, understanding flooding through her. We created the Meridians. But why? What could have been so terrible that we would engineer an entirely new species and then deliberately forget our own advancement? The answer came from the facility's central core, finally accessible after weeks of careful exploration. As Dr. Chen accessed the main database, a recording activated, a message from the past to the future. A hologram appeared, a woman in clothing unlike anything from known history. Her eyes carried the weight of impossible choices. If you're seeing this, the Meridians have returned, which means the threat we feared may soon follow. We couldn't stop it, not directly. So we created Guardians, children designed to survive what we could not. We gave them our knowledge, encoded in their very beings, but hidden until needed. Then we retreated, reduced ourselves, scattered our technology. Better to survive in ignorance than to draw attention before we were ready. The message continued, explaining the nature of the Meridian's creation, but was interrupted by urgent communications from orbit. The alien fleet was moving, taking up positions around Earth. The moment of contact had arrived. In the White House Situation Room, world leaders gathered virtually to coordinate humanity's response. The choice before them was momentous: reveal their awakening knowledge and risk cosmic consequences, or play the part of primitives, while secretly preparing for whatever threat had terrified their ancestors. Dr. Chen, now acting as chief scientific advisor, offered a third option. We created the Meridians as guardians, but also as a bridge, a way to preserve our knowledge and capabilities until they were needed again. They're not our enemies. They're our legacy, waiting to be reclaimed. The room erupted in debate, but was silenced by a transmission cutting through all Earth's communication systems. The crystalline form of High Admiral Venna appeared on every screen worldwide. People of Earth, she began, her translated voice carrying notes of both authority and uncertainty. "We come seeking answers about our origins, but perhaps," she paused, as if choosing her words carefully, "perhaps we might find those answers together." As humanity prepared for first contact with their own creation, the ancient facilities continued their reactivation sequence. In the depths of space, something stirred in response. The very threat that had set this grand plan in motion, awakening after millennia of dormancy. The game of hide and seek was ending. The time of remembering had begun. And in orbit above Earth, Creator and creation faced a reunion 50,000 years in the making. Children of Earth. The Antarctic Research Facility's central chamber hummed with energy, its ancient systems fully awakened for the first time in 50 millennia. Dr. Sarah Chen stood beside High Admiral Venna, human and Meridian united in their quest for understanding. The crystalline being's iridescent scales shifted through patterns of blue and gold, reflecting the chamber's pulsing lights. "Your ancestors built all of this," Venna observed, her four eyes taking in the vast array of quantum computers and temporal sensors. "Created us, then chose to forget." The magnitude of such a decision we're still trying to understand, Sarah replied, studying the latest data streams from the facility's central core. The past weeks had seen unprecedented cooperation between the two species. Meridian scientists worked alongside human researchers, their combined knowledge unlocking secrets buried in time. Above them, in orbit, the Meridian fleet maintained its protective watch. On Earth's surface, humanity grappled with the revelation of their true history. Ancient technologies, dormant for millennia, continued reactivating across the globe, each awakening bringing new insights into their forgotten golden age. First observer Krell, his neural tendrils interfacing directly with the facility's systems, suddenly stiffened. "High Admiral, Doctor, we found something. A sealed data vault, encrypted beyond anything we've encountered." The vault's security protocols recognize both human and Meridian biosignatures, as if it had been designed specifically for this moment, when both species would return together. As the decryption began, holographic images filled the chamber, showing scenes from Earth's distant past. They watched in awe as humanity's golden age unfolded before them. Cities that stretched into the clouds, ships that folded space itself, and achievements that bordered on the divine. But beneath the glory lay a growing shadow, something that turned triumph to terror. There, Venna pointed, her crystalline voice tight with tension. The hologram showed vast regions of space simply empty. Stars, planets, entire civilizations gone dark. Something was consuming the galaxy, sector by sector, leaving only void in its wake. "The Void Hunters," Sarah whispered, the name emerging from ancestral memory as the facility's data merged with human consciousness. They weren't just destroying. They were harvesting, converting all matter and energy into something else. Something wrong. The recording showed humanity's desperate battle against this cosmic horror. Traditional weapons proved useless against an enemy that operated on fundamental laws of physics they barely understood. As system after system fell, Earth's scientists realized they needed a different approach. "That's when they created us," Venna realized, watching the genesis of her species unfold. "Our crystalline biology, our ability to manipulate quantum fields, all designed to combat these beings." The Meridians had been engineered not just as guardians, but as weapons. Their very existence was anathema to the Void Hunters' reality-warping powers. But even this wasn't enough. The enemy was too vast, too alien in its thinking. Victory seemed impossible. So humanity had conceived of an audacious plan. They would hide, not just themselves, but their very advancement. They created the Meridians as a separate species, seeded them on a distant world, and encoded their knowledge and purpose deep within Meridian genetics. Then they scattered their own technology, wiped their civilization's memory, and became primitive again. A trap, Sarah understood finally. We made ourselves bait. When the Void Hunters finally reached Earth, they would find only a primitive species, not worth their immediate attention. But that delay would give the Meridians time to evolve, to grow strong enough to stand against them. And now we have returned, Vena added, just as your ancestors planned. But why now? After 50,000 years, what triggered? Her words cut off as new alarms blared through the facility. On screens throughout the chamber, sensors showed disturbances at the edge of the solar system. Space itself seemed to be unraveling, reality warping around points of absolute darkness. They followed us, Krell realized, his neural tendrils flashing with fear. Our journey here, our investigations, we led them straight to Earth. But Sarah was smiling, a fierce light in her eyes. No, she said, watching as more ancient systems activated across the planet. We led them into a trap 50,000 years in the making. Computer, initiate Protocol Omega. Authorization. Children of Earth. The facility's systems surged with power. Similar surges appeared at sites worldwide as humanity's forgotten defenses awakened. In orbit, the Meridian Fleet's crystalline hulls began resonating with frequencies encoded in their very structure. High Admiral Vena stood straighter, ancestral memories flooding through her consciousness. All ships, battle formations. Today we fulfill our purpose. Today we stand with our creators against the darkness. As the Void Hunters approached, humanity remembered its power, and the Meridians embraced their destiny. Creator and creation united, ready to spring a trapped millennia in the making. The final battle for existence itself was about to begin. Two species, one legacy. Reality itself seemed to tear apart at the edges of the solar system. The Void Hunters emerged from the darkness between stars, entities of anti-existence that defied comprehension. Where they passed, matter simply ceased to be, converted into something that shouldn't exist in our universe. In the Antarctic Command Center, Dr. Sarah Chen and High Admiral Vena watched as the threat that had haunted humanity's ancestral memories finally revealed itself. The facility's sensors struggled to process what they were seeing. Regions of space where the laws of physics simply broke down. All facilities reporting ready, Sarah announced, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Across Earth, ancient defense systems hummed with power that had lain dormant for 50,000 years. Quantum field generators at full capacity. The trap is set. Meridian Fleet in position. Vena confirmed, her crystalline form resonating with frequencies encoded in her species' very DNA. We are ready to fulfill our purpose, creators. The Void Hunters advanced methodically, their non-existence consuming asteroids and space debris at the system's edge. They moved with the patience of apex predators that had never known defeat, never encountered meaningful resistance in their eons-long harvest of the galaxy. First observer Krell's neural tendrils flashed with incoming data. They're scanning us, reading Earth's technological level. Just as predicted, they're registering us as merely Class 3. Perfect. Sarah smiled grimly. They'll consider Earth a minor morsel, hardly worth their full attention. That's their first mistake. The trap had been 50,000 years in the making. Humanity's ancestors had understood that they couldn't beat the Void Hunters through direct confrontation. The enemy was too vast, too alien, too powerful. But they had discovered something crucial about their adversary. The Void Hunters could be deceived. Energy spike. Krell called out. They're beginning their conversion process. The lead Void Hunter entity extended tendrils of unreality toward Earth, expecting to find only token resistance from a primitive civilization. Instead, it encountered something impossible, a quantum field that resonated at exactly the right frequency to disrupt its reality-warping powers. Now, Sarah and Vena commanded simultaneously. Across Earth, the dormant facilities activated their primary weapons. The Meridian Fleet's crystalline hulls began vibrating in harmony with the planetary defense grid. The trap wasn't just the weapons, it was the fundamental structure of space around Earth itself, rebuilt over 50 millennia to become deadly to entities that violated our universe's laws of physics. The lead Void Hunter recoiled as its powers failed. For the first time in its unfathomable existence, it experienced something new: pain. Secondary phase, Sarah ordered, her fingers dancing across quantum controls. Activate the resonance cascade. The Meridian ships began pulsing with energy that their creators had encoded into their very structure. Each crystalline vessel became a note in a symphony of destruction, generating frequencies that did more than just block the Void Hunter's powers. They began unraveling the impossible physics that allowed these entities to exist. All ships, attack pattern Omega, Vena commanded. Her fleet moved with perfect coordination, their crystalline weapons firing beams of concentrated reality that cut through the Void Hunter's defenses. The enemy, facing resistance for the first time, responded with overwhelming force. Space twisted and warped around their massive forms as they brought their full power to bear. Stars dimmed as they drew in energy for a devastating counterattack. They're adapting, Krell warned. The resonance frequencies are losing effectiveness. Just as expected, Sarah responded calmly. Initiate protocol legacy. Deep beneath Earth's surface, in facilities scattered across the globe, ancient machines began their final sequence. The quantum field around Earth pulsed once, twice, and then inverted. The Void Hunters, creatures of anti-existence, suddenly found themselves trapped in a bubble of pure, concentrated reality. Their powers didn't just fail, they backfired catastrophically. The very forces they used to consume existence began consuming them instead. All ships, full power to quantum lances, Vena ordered. The Meridian fleet's weapons pierced the weakened entities, their crystalline energy disrupting the impossible physics that held the Void Hunters together. In the command center, Sarah and Vena watched as humanity's ancient enemy began to disintegrate. The entities tried to retreat, to flee back to the darkness between stars, but the trap had closed. The combined power of human engineering and Meridian evolution had turned the solar system into a killing ground for beings that had thought themselves invincible. The battle lasted hours, but its outcome was never in doubt. When the last Void Hunter dissolved into nothingness, its impossible existence finally ended. A silence fell across the solar system. Victory report confirmed, Krell announced, his neural tendrils pulsing with relief. No trace of Void Hunter entities remaining in the system. Their unique quantum signatures have been completely eliminated. Sarah turned to Vena, seeing in the Admiral's 4 eyes the same mix of triumph and uncertainty that she felt. So, she said softly, what happens now? The question wasn't just about the immediate aftermath. It was about the future of 2 species bound together by creation, separated by time, and now reunited by destiny. Vena's scales shifted through thoughtful patterns of blue and gold. Now, she replied, we build something new, together. Not as creators and created, but as equals, as family. Around Earth, the ancient facilities began powering down, their purpose finally fulfilled. But they didn't go dormant this time. Instead, they transformed, ready to serve a new purpose, helping humanity reclaim its lost legacy while forging a new future with their Meridian children. In orbit, human scientists began boarding Meridian vessels, eager to learn from those they had created. On Earth, Meridian researchers worked alongside their human counterparts, combining their crystalline technology with awakening human innovation. We gave you life, Sarah mused, watching the activity around them. And you gave us back our history. Seems like a fair trade. Vena's crystalline laugh echoed through the chamber. Perhaps that was the true purpose all along. Not just to defeat the Void Hunters, but to prove that creation and creator could become something greater together than either could be alone. As the sun rose over Antarctica, its light refracting brilliantly through the Meridian ships in orbit, 2 species looked toward the future with hope. The threat that had haunted their shared past was gone. The legacy of humanity's golden age was reawakening. And among the stars, creator and creation would go forward together, ready to face whatever new challenges the universe might bring. The greatest trap in history had succeeded not just in defeating an ancient enemy, but in forging an unbreakable bond between two species. Humanity had created the Meridians to be their guardians and legacy, but in the end, they had become something far more valuable: family.